Hey guys, welcome to my new tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw this cute summer picnic scene. It's beginner friendly and will be suitable for anyone learning to draw in Procreate. I'll show you my process of drawing from start to finish, which brushes I use and how I use them. And before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to support it. And check out my other drawing tutorials and my course on drawing cartoony characters if you are interested in learning how to draw cute Disney-like stickers of yourself. So let's get started. The first part of this video will be a screen recording and then it will go back to normal. I lost that first video. So I sketch with H2.0 brush and the brushes I use will be linked in the description. So I start with drawing a picnic basket. And inside it there is a baguette and some random plants, some flowers. So I'm just drawing a few random leaf shapes. Every object is on a separate layer to make it easier to edit if we need to. And to change the shape, I use the selection tool, and near the basket I draw a bottle of wine, and then I can move it to any place I like, and I draw a glass. You can change the size of the objects if they look odd, and then erase everything below them. I decide to make the bottle and the glass a little bigger, and then on a separate layer I draw a piece of watermelon. And I make it smaller. And let's draw a picnic blanket underneath all of this. Make some kind of pattern, and then we can erase the unnecessary parts. I move some things around, and I'm gonna add some grass and a few dots. So now I'm selecting all of the layers and moving them around to put them in the center. I flip my canvas horizontally to check if everything looks fine, and then I can modify the layers that I don't like. When I'm happy with my sketch, I merge all the layers together, and then I change the color to red and put the layer to the multiply mode, decrease the opacity, and create a new layer to put it underneath my sketch to start coloring. You can use 6B pencil for this if you don't want to buy the brushes that I'm using. I'm gonna be using August Raw pack and a willow branch brush for the whole tutorial. I'm putting this lightest color as a background color, and then you can see all the colors that I'm using in the palette. The palette is linked in the description. So I start with coloring the blanket, and I color it by hand because I want to have some of the texture visible, so I don't just color drop the colors this time. The next thing will be the basket, and again everything is on its own layer. If you are using the 6B pencil, you will have a nice pencil-like texture as well, just a different one. So I just block every single object for now without adding any shadows or lights, only the basic color. If I need to fix things, I just flip my canvas horizontally and then I can see all the imperfections of my drawing. Then I want to fix the shape of the glass. Then I decide to make the watermelon smaller because it was way too big. I come back to the glass and change its shape again because I didn't like the way it looked. Once everything has been colored, I just go and go through everything to make sure everything looks nice before moving on to the details. So I'm gonna start adding the details. I add the clipping mask layer to the blanket and add some pattern. I decided to change the pattern because I already have a checked blanket inside the basket, so I'm just adding those lines. Then with the darker brown, I'm gonna add some details to the picnic basket. Then sometimes with some smaller objects I'm just gonna use the alpha lock, so you can swipe 2 fingers to the right or choose it manually, and then you will not go over the shapes of the object. So I'm gonna do this with the bottle. Just gonna add the shadows this way. I'm adding the darker green to the right side and the lighter green to the left side, only with the strokes of a pencil. Then I color pick some colors that I already have just to blend things in smoothly. And add some reflections on the bottle. Then I do the same thing with the other objects. I alpha lock the layer and then add the texture, the pencil texture. So our bottle is ready, let's move on to the glass of wine. I do the same thing. I alpha lock the layer, choose a darker color by going to the right and down, and then I can add the shadow. Then I create a new layer, a clipping mask above my glass, and change the blending mode to add. This way I can add some kind of highlight on the whole glass shape and decrease the opacity. And I want to add some kind of bubbles inside, also with an add layer and the yellowish color. Then I move on to the bread. And by going to the right and down, making like a reversed L shape when you are choosing colors for your shadows, you'll make sure that your colors are not muddy and don't look dull, and instead they will be more saturated. To add shadows and lights to the blanket, I create a layer with an add mode on top, and with the yellowish color, I think I'm only gonna add the lights. So this way I can add it to the whole shape of the blanket. And then I add some random leaf shapes inside the plant with a darker color. I'm gonna do the same thing with the lighter one and then an even lighter one to have a color variation inside this plant. Sorry, it didn't get recorded, but I added some shadows using a multiply layer to the basket. And I added some light to the basket with an add mode. And with another layer with an add mode, I add more light to these flowers, to the plant. And I add shadows to the blanket with the multiply mode. I add the shadows and lights to the watermelon in the same way as to the other objects. And let's add shadows to our picnic blanket with a clipping mask and multiply layer underneath each object. Because they're touching the blanket, there should be a shadow. And I'm gonna add another layer with the multiply mode to make the shadow stronger. And I also add a clipping mask and take a lighter color than the blanket just to add some pencil texture. So you can see I just make random scribbles, and this way it will have a nice feel to it. It will not look that flat. And on top of everything, I add a layer with the color mode and fill it with black color to turn it into a black and white to see if the contrast works. And I see that the handle of the picnic basket doesn't work well with the plant, so I'm gonna add a little bit of a highlight to separate them. And now it works much better. And then I'll create another layer on top of everything, and with this yellowish color I'm gonna add a few dots here and there just to make it more fun and more magical. I realized that I added too many of those dots, so I'm gonna erase some of them. And I'm gonna also decrease the opacity of the background color because it was too yellow. So it will be closer to white, but not entirely white. Then I'm choosing all the layers. I'm selecting all of the layers and I'm gonna just move it closer to the center. And the last touch is to add some noise texture. So I'm on a new layer, I go to the noise settings and then I change this layer to an overlay mode. This way it has a nice noise texture. If you want, you can decrease the opacity, but I'm gonna leave it as is. And the last touch is to add something on the wine label. I'm gonna add a little heart. You can add whatever you want there. And now we're done with our summery picnic scene. So we used this pencil-like textures and it looks really, really nice and hand-drawn. I hope you liked this tutorial. Make sure to leave a comment to let me know what you think about it and what I should draw next. And don't forget to check out my other tutorials teaching you how to draw in Procreate, and also my course of drawing cartoony characters if you're interested in learning how to draw cute Disney-like stickers of yourself. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!